very much. I'd like to welcome everybody here this evening to the 6th annual Altar Nights, Knights of Gold Gridiron Grades Induction Dinner. Is this on? Can you hear?
Just barely.
Can you hear? It's on. Okay, I'll be close to this thing. I'd like to welcome everybody to the 6th annual dinner here this evening. We've got a really good class this year to induct, and we will get started with them very quickly. I'd like to welcome the inductees themselves, their families, their guests, and if we have any past Gridiron greats here, I know we have a few. If you could stand up real quick, I'd like to acknowledge you guys. Again, appreciate you coming back. And on behalf of Coach Tom Sykes, coaching staff, and Altar Football Association and Knights of Gold, I'd like to welcome everybody. I'd like to introduce Dan Morrison. As with everything here at Altar High School, we start everything with a prayer, and I'd like for Dan to have that honor.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Dear God, we thank you for allowing us today to eat this meal with our friends and family. And we ask that you bless our distinguished guests who have helped pave a tradition like no other here at Altar High School. May we always put you at the center of our lives, on and off the field, so that we may continue to be witnesses of the gospel, our faith, and our pride in Altar High School through the Christian values that we have been taught. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Okay, thank you, Dan. What we'll do is we'll get right into the induction and the introductions. A little bit nervous here at the beginning because I get to introduce the guy who's been the voice of Altar sports, football, basketball, and stuff since 1991. It's Joe Smith. Joe's a 1994 Altar graduate. He began his sports broadcasting at Georgia Southern University. He has broadcasted Altar football since 1991. It includes over some 600 games. He's broadcast 2 state championship games. Joe began broadcasting the football games on Wing Radio. A few of you out there, I'm sure, remember that. He also was instrumental then in moving the games to the internet, which really has allowed all of our Altar graduates and fans and the people who follow Altar football to listen to the games live on stream worldwide. Joe is also infamous for his broadcasting of the Altar basketball games. So with that, Joe Smith.
Thank you very much, Greg Merrill, and thank you to everyone here tonight. I do have to correct Greg. He said I graduated in 94. It's 74. Yeah. I look old for 74, but if I was a 94 graduate, I would look really old, I guess. Thank you very much. This is quite an honor, and I guess this officially opens a broadcasting wing in the Gridiron Greats, right? Because I was not a player, but to Jake Parnell, who I broadcast with for the first 17 years of the 25 years, he's in this group as a broadcaster. So now I guess we officially have a broadcasting wing, and Jake and I are the only 2 members of the broadcasting wing. But that's good. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. I'm not going in for my football exploits, that's for sure. I think there's no question about that. I wish I had been a great football player, but I was not. I did play quarterback on my intramural team at Ohio State. Does that count for anything yet? Not much. Ed says stick to broadcasting. Yes, but there was this one game, I do recall, where I threw 4 touchdown passes. I was a quarterback on my intramural team, threw 4 touchdown passes, and also the game-winning touchdown pass. And that was a beautiful pass down the middle on the receiver's hands. It's a great memory. My teammates hoisted me on their shoulders and carried me off the field to the sounds of cheers from the crowd. It's a great memory, honestly. I think about that today. And then I woke up and realized it was all a dream. It was all a dream. I did play quarterback on my intramural team, but the rest of that was a dream. It was a dream. But seriously, thanks to the Knights of Gold, the Gridiron Greats Committee, to Coach Dom Seitz and Greg Merrill, and all of the members of the Altar football community for this honor here tonight. I truly am honored to be included in this great group of athletes that have represented Altar High School so well, both in their years in school here and in the years after. 25 years of broadcasting Altar sports. That is a good long time. 17 years with Jake Parnell. Those of you who are younger may not remember those years because Jake finished up back in 2008. But he was a character, and it was a lot of fun to broadcast with Jake. I could tell you some stories of a few memories that I had with Jake, but I guess we'll leave those for another time. But the last 8 years with Mike Freshwater, who's a very, very good color analyst, does a great job. I love working with Mike. I certainly did not envision it would last this long when I started back in 1991. I approached WING back then about doing some high school games part-time, and they suggested that I find a school that would support it. And I picked the right school. The administration here loved it back at that time. For Altar to have all their games live on a prominent radio station was a pretty big deal. I mean, now you got a lot of schools doing games on the internet, but back then it was a big deal for Altar to be on Wing. CJ and Carol couldn't figure out how Altar got that deal. Back at that time, we used to go to Carol and we'd go to CJ and they'd say, there come those guys from Wing again. How does Altar get on Wing? Why can't we get on a radio station? They couldn't figure that out. Jake used to say to me, he said to me once, I remember that Jim Place, the CJ football coach, asked him once, how did you guys get that deal with Wing? Because, you know, Jim Place was a very media-savvy guy. He kind of liked the radio aspect of it. And he asked Jake, how'd you guys get that deal with Wing? And I think Jake probably said something like, I don't know, Coach, you'll have to talk to my agent. That sounds like something Jake would say. He'd come up with something like that off the top of his head. So this journey has taken me through the years with Altar and with people I have worked with, and I have some great memories of terrific performances by great athletes, a lot of them here. Jerry Rudzinski I remember so well. And the first broadcast I did for Altar on Wing, Jerry was a sophomore and intercepted a pass against CJ, ran it back for a touchdown. Jason, his brother, was the quarterback on that team. That was back in 1991, and I remember that very, very well. But the thing that strikes me the most about the football program here is how Coach Dom Seitz has built this program into one of the top programs in the state of Ohio. And it really, really is. I remember when Altar opened up with Fairmont in Coach Dom Seitz's first season back in 1999, and I was talking with Larry Masters about that season. Jake interviewed him before the Fairmont game. And I remember this very well because Jake had known Coach Dom Seitz from the 80s. And there was a lot of success at that time in the 80s when Ed was the coach back in the 80s. And Ed said in the interview, Jake asked him what the team needed to do to become the best they could be because they had had a couple of off years. And he said, Ed, what does this team need to focus on? And I remember him saying, first we have to improve blocking and tackling, fundamentals. And I remember that very, very well because they improved very quickly. 2 years later, Altar was in the state semifinals in 2 years. And that was remarkable because they had lost to Fairmont 5 years in a row, and they had lost to CJ 3 or 4 years in a row. So Ed got it turned around very, very quickly. And I remember that very well. Now they have 15 wins in the last 16 games against both Fairmont and CJ, 2 state championships. Coach Dom Seitz has proven what can happen when you blend talent with high expectations. You have great success, and that's what Altar has had. I want to thank the coach, and also Chris Rourke, who's here. Great guy. I loved working with Chris and Dan Anderson, who coached before Ed during the early radio years. All the coaches have been great to work with through the years that I've been doing the games. Before I started this Altar venture, I worked for a couple of radio stations and was pursuing a professional broadcast career. But the way this has worked out for me, I now look back and see that this was the way it was supposed to be. I look at what was right for me and my family, and I think for me to have worked with the kind of freedom that I've had and to represent Alter and deliver these broadcasts to the supportive and appreciative fan base at this school has been just right for me. I guess you could call me a play-by-play junkie. That's probably true, because I remember doing play-by-play when I was a kid in the driveway and calling plays that we would be doing on the driveway and things like that, because I have always gotten a thrill from describing the action to those listeners who have their ear to the speaker and are picturing the play on the field that I am describing. That's what a play-by-play guy does. So in that way, working for Alter has been as good for me as it has been for Alter. It's been a great partnership, and I couldn't have asked for better support from the coaches, the players, the administration than I've had from the people here at Alter. They have been great to me, and it has been a rewarding experience. I am proud of the fact that we have kept this going for 25 years, and that is in no small part thanks to the support and listenership from the fans, from the parents, the grandparents of players, and alumni who listen regularly and have supported us through the years. And we still hear from people listening all over the world, literally, and throughout the U.S. on the internet. We get a lot of feedback. Mike always takes his email shout-outs to people, and they're listening from all over the country. It's amazing. Alter High School is indeed a great place, and I mean that. It is a great and special school, and you people who are playing here now, and you'll play through your career at Alter and graduate from Alter High School, it's a unique school. A lot of very special people have come through this school. It draws great talent both in their student base and in the staff and coaches. It will always be a great school, and I hope that it always remains a great place for young people to grow and learn in a faith-based environment, rich in tradition both academically and athletically. Thank you again for this honor. I truly appreciate it, and as always, go Knights. Thank you.
Okay, next up on our agenda is Coach Larry Masters. Coach Masters is a 1966 Ball State graduate. He has a 34-year coaching career. He has a 34-year coaching career. He started his career at Marion High School in Marion, Indiana. While at Marion, Indiana, his Marion team achieved the Indiana #1 state ranking during his coaching time. He has also coached here in Ohio in Greenville and also Northmont. And in 1999, Coach Dom Seitz recruited him to come to coach at Alter as a defensive coordinator. He coached here at Alter for 9 years, and Coach Dom Seitz credits Coach Masters with introducing the basis of our current defensive alignment. Coach Masters.
Thank you. Let me, first of all, thank the Knights of Gold Committee, Greg Merrill, and Coach Dom Seitz for this honor. Very humbling. When you play the game of football or you coach the game of football, you never expect anything like this to ever happen. And when it does, at least for me anyway, I think probably most people, you're taken back. It's a humbling experience when somebody wants to put you in some kind of a Hall of Fame or Knights of Gold or something like that. So to that group, I'm very thankful and very humbling. As Greg said, I coached this game for 34 years. Started out in Indiana and coming to Ohio. Didn't take me long to figure out the best place to coach football was in Ohio and not Indiana. They've improved, but back in the day when I got out of college, football, if you want to coach football, play football, the place to be was in Ohio. And so I came to Ohio back in the 80s and began coaching over here. But of the 34 years that I coached football, the 10 years or nearly 10 years I spent at Alter High School, were the most fulfilling and most rewarding years of my entire career. And I'm not trying to slight anybody, other schools where I coached. I coached at several places, but this is truly unique here. And all you players sitting back there, I think if you don't know it yet, you will know that before you graduate from here, that Alder High School is very unique. So anyway, in 1999, I was coaching with Ed at Northmont. And he wanted to know if I wanted to come with him to Alder High School. And I thought, because he had told me on several occasions while we were coaching at Northmont, he said, I think, Larry, you would really enjoy coaching at a Catholic high school. You know, I read about him in the paper, and back in the day when Moeller was winning everything, and I thought, wow, that does sound pretty good. But he said, I think you would enjoy the kind of players that we have at these Catholic high schools. And so I thought about it. I was teaching school in Greenville, Ohio, about an hour and a half away. And I thought, wow, it's going to be quite a drive. But first of all, I told him I couldn't do it. It's too far. I just can't do it. So I drove down there with my wife, drove around Alder, school, and on my way back home, and Ed lives up on 49, and I'm heading back to Greenville. So we pulled into Ed's drive, and I said, I was going in there to tell him that I couldn't do it. So I'm pulling in the driveway, and I just couldn't bear the thought of giving up football. So I went in and I said, okay, I'm going to come with you. We'll see what happens down here. But I knew Ed knew that the kind of potential that was at Alder. He was already here once before. He knew there were special kind of people that come to Alder High School. And he believed that some great things could happen here at Alder High School with this football team. We came the first year, I think we went 2-8. I wasn't so sure. But the longer I was here, I became a believer that we could have some great things happen here at Alder High School. And I think history bears that out, that we were both right about it, especially Ed. All the way up until this year, 2016, history of Alder football has been pretty great. So anyway, I was here a few years, and I kept getting this feeling about the spirit of Alder High School. I didn't know there was something about it. And so I used to make up all these scouting reports and give them out on Monday at our scouting meeting, and I'd write some stuff in there. And all of a sudden it occurred to me one day that I'm going to say something about what I feel exists here. And I called it that mysterious altar spirit. And I told him, I was standing before him on a Monday afternoon, I said, it's this mysterious altar spirit. You can't buy it, you can't touch it, you can't hold it in the palm of your hand, you can't read about it. But if you play for Alder, you know it's real. And this spirit will carry you through in the heat of battle. It'll carry you through any challenge that you may face. And all the guys I know that I played with, or coached, I think, believed that it does exist. I don't know how to explain it. It's out there, but it does exist. And I've never been at a place where I felt there was this kindred spirit or whatever that carried athletes and coaches to the next level and the next level, and kept with us the whole time we were working here at Alder High School. So anyway, more than the wins and the losses and the 10-0 seasons we had, the championships that I experienced while I was here, the thing I remember most are the relationships with players and coaches They've had some great coaches here, even greater players. But you can't be a great coach unless you got great players, I can tell you that. And most, probably any coach will tell you that. But everything is so impressive about the Alder system, the Alder high school football team, athletics, the school, the fans, the parents. Everybody is so motivated, which was one of the things I noticed was so different from public school. When I came here, the whole group, players, fans, coaches, parents, the level of motivation, everybody was goal-oriented. They had high expectations. You don't always run into that in public school. But everybody, it seemed, had great expectations. And it probably tell you they hold you to it, too. But anyway, I'm thankful for all those relationships I had with the coaches and the players and the fans and the parents that I was fortunate enough to come in contact with my years here at Alder. And there's a popular phrase that goes around Alder High School. I've noticed it at banquets at the end of the year. And I hope you don't mind if I use it myself. I'm not an Alder grad, never played for Alder, but I'm a believer. But anyway, that phrase goes something like, I will always be an Alder Knight. Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to start into some players now, and first one up here is Jerry Philhauer. Jerry was in the second graduating class here at Alder in 1967. Jerry was a four-year letterman. He played offensive guard, defensive end, and handled kicking duties. And for all you young guys back then, there was no such thing as a soccer-style kicker, so you approached the kick straight on. So that was Jerry's style. After Alder, Jerry attended Capital University. He played on Capital University's football team, and he was a member of the 1970 national championship team. He was also recently inducted into Capital University Sports Hall of Fame. Jerry Philhauer.
Thank you, Smitty. Jim McVay and I were talking. He said, we're going to bore these kids to death, so I'm going to try to live up to his expectations. Next year will be 50 years since I've been out. And I want to correct you. I kicked off. Your brother kicked extra points. He did? You didn't remember. When we were here, we wore those leather hats, those leather helmets, and we didn't have face masks. That's why our faces look like this. Not really. I'm just kidding. Anyway, it's been 50 years. When we started at Alder, we had a fledgling football team. When I got here, or not here, but at Alder, there were the upperclassmen were the sophomores, and we were freshmen. So we had only two classes. And the first year we played a junior varsity schedule. That's all we played. The second year I was here, which we had three grades then, we played a full varsity schedule. Now I asked Doug how we did. He didn't remember either. So we must have done really well. Because actually I asked Greg, I said, do we have any records back then? He said, no. I said, well, how do I know how well I did? So if I tell you I did well, you're just going to have to believe it. So my third year, which was the first full year of high school, we had four actual grades. We were 8-1 going into the 10th game. And we were actually, our only loss that year was to Columbus Watterson, and they were the #1 team in the state, and we should have actually beat them. But we came into the last game, and back then, they didn't have the rankings like they have now. Back then, they would have how you were in the area. And we were the last game, we were #2 in the area, and our arch rivals, Chaminade. I don't think we'd ever played them before, so I'm not sure how they would have been our arch rivals, but they were. It wasn't Chaminade Julian, it was Chaminade. and they were our last game, and they were number 1. So we played them in a monsoon. I think there was lightning and everything. They didn't stop the game back then. But we played them and we beat them badly. It was great. Things were different than when we got here. I mean, think about this. Google was a big number. Apple was a fruit. JFK was president. He was assassinated the first 2 months after we got to school. Your finances, the yearly income was $5,800, car was $3,200, the house was $12,900, gasoline was 29 cents. So I mean, it was a different time back then, and we were this little school that was just starting up, and so we were playing these teams, and I don't know where they came up with the schedule. We were playing these big teams when we hadn't even been playing very much. So it was interesting how that all worked out. In my opinion, that team, our senior year, Doug and I talked about this too, we sucked pretty bad. But that junior year, I think we had one of the best teams in the history of Alden. And I know that because we were the only team that had ever gone 9-1, ever, back then. Don't get it, team. We were the only team that was there. I guess they my jokes. At my office, when they have already heard this story, they raise their hand, quit. Anyway, so we ranked. When those different rivalries you have with, was it Fairmont? I don't know who the rivalries are. Sean with CJ now. Now I have a grandson who goes to CJ. I keep asking him, I said, they built that nice stadium down there. I said, why do they build that? I said, you guys don't have a football team. And he hates it every time I say that. It feels so good when I say that. And the good thing is when these rivalries that you go through and you get to meet these people afterwards, after you get out and you run into these guys that were at CJ or at Fairmont, and they're just guys just like you. I mean, I've got business partners that graduate from Shaman. I've got clients and friends at Carroll or Fairmont. I mean, it's just a different time once you get out. I mean, it's great to have those rivalries, but you have to. But the fact that you have done battle against them is a good thing, and you always want to have the upper hand in the bragging rights. So you got to make sure you beat them while you're here, so you can always remind them that you did that. I try to keep boring. You learn valuable lessons when you're playing sports. Hard work prevails. Preparation is key. Teamwork in sports and business is paramount. You will be competing all your life, so you better prepare for it now. Planning and goal setting is a must. And a quote from Vince Lombardi, football is like life. It requires perseverance, self-denial, hard work, sacrifice, dedication, and respect for authority. So good luck, guys.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. Next up, we have Jim McVeigh. Jim was in the class of 1972. He was a 3-year letterman. He played quarterback, kind of ran the family some. Was named 1971 co-MVP. He was a 2-time All-Midwest Ohio Conference. That's those pre-GCL days. And Jim attended and played football at the University of Dayton. Jim currently is the CEO for the Outback Bowl down in Florida. Jim.
Greg, congratulations to all this year's Gridiron Greats, and thank you to the committee for your consideration to be included in this prestigious group. I think I can speak for all of my teammates and coaches when I say how proud we are that we are being recognized, and we will now be included with the Gridiron Great group. I'm sure that all the inductees this evening will agree that none of us would be here without the efforts of terrific teammates, dedicated coaches like Bill Rankin, Jim Seawee, Jack Ward, family and staff. Speaking of teammates, we have a couple of guys here that I was fortunate enough to play with that were in our graduating class 72. Dan Brinkman, stand up, Dan. Make sure everybody sees you. Dan Brinkman, one of our players. Outstanding football player. Where's Jim Britt? Jim Britt is in the back of the room. Shutdown corner. He's the guy that started the term shutdown corner. He was a hell of a player for the Knights. I tell you what. Thanks, Jim, for being here. You didn't need to be here. Thank you so much. And Ed Lashansky. Ed Lashansky was the perfect teammate. Whatever was needed, Ed Lashansky would do. He could play many positions. And boy, are we happy to have Ed Lashansky on our team. But thank you guys for being here. Ed says I didn't have a choice. I had to be here. I'm part of the committee, but we thank you for being here. I'd also like to mention a couple of guys that are not here that were really special to play with. Joe Schustrom, Greg Walther, Alan Canarozzi, and this is a couple of years back, Nick Savino, Herb Krull. These guys were outstanding teammates, and they were better friends. So this was something that you take with yourself a long time down the road, fellas. So it's not just these guys you're playing football with today. These are relationships that are going to be with you forever. My family's here. Many of my family members are here, and that's something that's really special. So I'd like to introduce them. My wife, Lori, who I met 40 years ago at the University of Dayton. Wave, Lori, so everybody can see you. 40 years ago, I said 40. She didn't have to roll her eyes when I said that. 40 years. How about the brothers here? Brother Tim was a quarterback. He's a Gridiron great. He's now going to be in the Hall of Fame ceremony a couple of weeks from now. I get to thank my parents for waiting an extra year to have Tim. He was 2 years behind me. If he would have been 1 year behind me, I wouldn't be up here with the rest of these guys. He would have had my job. He was an outstanding quarterback, all-state, all-American. Went on to play football at Indiana University, a two-time captain. Really proud of Brother Tim. He's a Gridiron great. My older brother, John. John is another Gridiron great. This is a guy who played wide receiver for us, defensive back. Went on to have a spectacular career at Miami, Ohio, when Miami was worth a damn. A little different back when he was playing with Ron Zook and Sherman Smith, and they had a great team. John was really terrific. He was my older brother. He was always very helpful when I was a quarterback. If I got flushed out of the pocket and nothing really special happened, we had a pass play. John, as a receiver, would remind me that he was wide open every time. So, and of course, if we watched the film the next day, he was right. So great to have John. He came in special. Tim from Atlanta. My wife is here. It's terrific. My parents are here tonight. This is something that is really big for us because we're scattered all over the country. My mother is with us this evening. As soon as they start a Hall of Fame for mothers, our mom will be the first inductee. She was there for every football game, every basketball game, every track meet, and she gave us the confidence and strength to handle all challenges. And she actually was the best athlete in the family too. So there's my mother. Wave, Mom. She won't stand up. Thank God for Mom. Thank you for being here. My father is here with us this evening. He flew in from California to be here tonight. This is how important this was to him, which really is wonderful of him to make that effort, flying in from California. For those of you guys who've never heard of John McVay, he was a former head coach at the University of Dayton, former head coach of the New York Giants. He was recently inducted into the San Francisco 49ers Hall of Fame, where he was the general manager and the co-architect, along with a guy named Bill Walsh, of the teams that won 5 Super Bowls. He came all the way from California. They just named the draft room after John McVay with the San Francisco 49ers and the Marie DeBartolo facility out there. He's probably in 5 or 6 Hall of Fames, scattered all over the place. But to have my dad come in here is special. My mom, my wife being here, and brothers, So this is really neat for us. And to see Ed Lashonsky and Jim Britt, Dan Brinkman, and a lot of other guys that were just special. And these relationships go on and on and on for a long time. All right, now the altar nights. You guys may not realize it yet, but you have something special that only altar nights have. You are in a special culture. You have a unique spirit that develops when you're in this program. There is no limit to what you can accomplish on and off the field. If you wake up every day and say you're going to make a difference and you're going to make something happen, I guarantee you guys will always be successful. You're having a hell of a year. Keep it up. We're proud of you guys. Good luck tomorrow night. Thank you very much to the committee for making me a part of this prestigious group. Thank you.
We have Jeff Smith. Jeff was a member of the class of 1983. He was a 3-year starter in Letterman. Jeff led the team in tackles his junior and senior years. He's a tri-captain his senior year. Jeff was also a 4-year Letterman in track and wrestling. And after altar, he attended Georgetown College in Kentucky, where he was a 2-time first-team all-conference at Georgetown. Jeff Smith.
I want to thank the committee for this. I truly appreciate this. I also want to thank my parents. It's a sacrifice to come play at altar because, you know, it costs money to come to altar. But they made it to every game, both in, you know, in wrestling, track, and football. They never missed. With that being said, guys, your parents are making sacrifices for you to come to altar. And how do you honor your folks? You play with heart, intensity. Always play with heart and intensity. Not only when you're on the football field, but in the classroom. Learn as much as you can now. Math does not change. Biology does not change. Chemistry does not change. When you go to the next level, it will help you. It makes life so much easier. When you read a book, learn what your thoughts are able to put on the paper. Because when you get to college, which I say most of you guys are going to go, it makes life that much easier. I'm a big believer in goals. When I came here, 135 bench was tough. But what I did is I made goals. Want to do 150, 175, 200, then 225. You make little goals, you reach them, you make higher goals. You know, when I left Georgetown, I was benching 435. So, I mean, I was kind of happy with that. You also need to have team goals. We played a team called Hamilton-Baden, and I think I remember the guy's name was Lance Lewis. Supposed to be the stud running back. You know, it was going to be all state. And our goal, our defensive goal, was to keep them under 100 yards. We did. We beat Hamilton-Baden. We were supposed to get beat by 14 or something like that. I think we won 17-6. So, you know, you got to have these goals. I started as a sophomore. There was 26 juniors in front of me, and there were 16 seniors in front of me. Started the first game against Jefferson. And the reason I think I was able to do that is I played with intensity. And you got to play on the practice field and on the games with your heart, with intensity at all times. Don't let up. You know, the coaches will see that, and they're going to say, hey, this kid wants to play ball. So, I get a little excited sometimes. With altar, with you all being at altar, one of my favorite verses out of the Bible comes from Matthew 22, verses 36 to 39. It says, love the Lord your God with all your heart,
with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second like it is love your neighbor as yourself. Put God first. He will guide you. He will direct you. Uplift your teammates. When they're down, uplift them. It makes for a unity. And you guys will have lasting relationships. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jeff. Next up, we've got Bill Rain. Bill was in the class 1984, where he was a 2-year letterman in football and a 4-year letterman in track. Bill was a 2-way starter in football. His senior year, he had 5 TDs and averaged 26 yards per catch. Bill also was second in the tackles, second in the team in tackles from a free safety position. After Alter, Bill attended Citadel University in South Carolina. At Citadel, he was a 4-year letterman, played wide receiver and tailback. After graduation, Bill served in the U.S. as an Army officer. Bill Rain.
I wasn't a lineman. Yeah, we all get a little bit bigger. I'd like to thank the committee for nominating me. Also like to thank my family for being here. My wife of 25 years, Maureen Rain, and my father-in-law, Mike O'Hare, and his wife Lucy, and one of my best friends, Paul Howe. We've been best friends for 36 years, so thank you guys for being here. I had a little different way to get here. As Greg said, I only played two years. I was a track guy. Ed was in his second year. He basically came to me and said, we need somebody fast that can run and catch the ball. That's all I knew. And literally in our first game, first play from line of scrimmage, Paul Howe, my quarterback, literally we did an out and up and I caught the ball. That was pretty amazing that I caught it. So, but then I proceeded to run and I thought the guy was behind me. So I said, well, I'll go towards the center. And when I did that, I got tackled on the 3-yard line by the free safety. So I never lived that down, but then, so I learned, basically run towards the pylons. And so that was one of my first lessons in football. One of the things I wanted to talk about, and Jeff talked about, life lessons. The big thing, guys, is sort of seizing opportunities. That was an opportunity for me to come and play football. I always thank Ed for, asking me to come out. The other one was, it was funny, back in those days, we all had an offensive and a defensive position. And so I basically looked out the field, and we only had one free safety, and that was Mike Williams. And he was a stud. Nothing was ever going to happen to Mike. So I ended up going in that line because it was the shortest. And 3 games into that season, Mike breaks his leg. So now Bill Rain is now the starting free safety. And it was interesting. We were going to go play Hubbard. Jeff Smith was our middle linebacker. And I remember Ed Downsites announcing to the team that Bill Rain was going to start, and everybody, groaned. And I still remember Ed said one thing that always sticks with me, and I tell my kids, speed cures all ills. And so literally we went up to Youngstown and played Hubbard. And I'll just give you a little hint. I led the team in tackles from free safety. So needless to say, we did not have a good game. We got our butts kicked. So, but it was interesting, that opportunity, going to the shortest line, became a starting free safety, ended up then getting a scholarship offer from the Citadel for receiver, but also from Eastern Kentucky for defensive back. So just those things, guys, when you have those little opportunities, make sure you take them. And you'll never know what's going to happen. And as we said, all through life, these different things that sort of, sneak up on you. Going to the Citadel, everyone thought, why is this guy going to South Carolina? Why is he going to a military school? I had other offers for Eastern Kentucky, Ohio State for track. And I chose this school down in South Carolina, but it was pretty amazing when people that I met, the opportunities I had, the opportunity to be in the Army. And then I came back to Dayton and re-met my now wife. She was an '83 grad. And we ended up moving to downtown Dayton, and at that time, nobody lived in downtown or did things. Started, renovating houses and started doing small buildings, and that pretty much led to us doing a lot of things in downtown Dayton and into a career in real estate. So as these things come, guys, take the opportunities that are presented. It may not be a path that you thought was going to happen. And I mean, that's what I'm saying. Just make sure that you keep your eyes open, and when things come, really look at it as opportunities. So with that, I want to thank some people, Ed Domsites, thank you very much for, and then Mike McCall, who's not here, Jack Ward, who's not here. These were guys that really sort of helped shape me as a man, and really sort of helped me, become the person I am today. So I'd like to thank the committee, thank all the guys, good luck for tomorrow night, and go Knights. Thank you.
Bill, we did want to do a little something here. We were contacted by somebody you know this week, and she sent up a little recording for you.
Hey, Bill. Have you heard us cheering? We're all so happy for you being inducted into the Alter High School Football Hall of Fame. We'd love to be there with you, but you and Maureen enjoy it all. Congrats. Love you, Mom and Dad, Griffin and Claire, Woody, David, Jordan, and Josh. See you soon.
That is hilarious. We played Clemson in Death Valley, and there were 75,000 people there, and the person I heard in the stands was my mother yelling, "Go Billy!"
Good old mom, right? Our next inductee this evening is Jason Rudzinski. Jason was in the class of 1992, where he was a 3-year football letterman. Also, he lettered 2 years in track and 1 in basketball. He played quarterback for Chris Rourke, Coach Rourke. And as a junior, he led Alter to their first #1 state ranking, which at that time was a state writers poll for quite a bit of the season. And then he made all GCL and all Southwest Ohio. He was team captain and also offensive most valuable player his senior year. Jason was also voted most athletic by his senior class. Jason.
Thank you. Hey, Jared McVeigh's got 3 in. We got 2. Owen. I'm counting on you, buddy. I'm very humbled to receive this award. Jim Brown, Bud Schneebly, thank you for being here. I'd also like to thank my beautiful wife, Brenda. My dad has a lot of good sayings for those of you that know him. One of my favorites is God takes care of the dumb ones. And he's taking care of me with Brenda. Also want to thank my 4 beautiful kids, Grace, Paige, Anna, and Owen. Please stand up. I want to embarrass you here. They've got a bunch of other things they could be doing tonight, and they came to sit through this. So thanks, guys. There's another first ballot Hall of Famer that I would like to thank for being here. My brother Jerry. I'm biased, but he's the best high school football player I've ever seen. First team All-State 2 years in a row on defense. Defensive Player of the Year. A lot of people don't know this. When he was Defensive Player of the Year, he was also Offensive MVP of the GCL, so that's pretty impressive. Jer, even though you're my younger brother, I've always looked up to you, and keep up the good work. To receive an award like this from any school is a tremendous honor, but to receive one from a school like Alter, it's very humbling when I look at some of the other guys, this whole row, and many before. So I appreciate and I'm really touched by this award. I'd also like to thank Coach Domsites, who I didn't play for. Here's why I want to thank him. Back when I was in 8th grade, I went to Incarnation, and half the kids, I don't know if it's still the same, half would go to Centerville, half would go to Alter. And it was the day where Incarnation goes for their tour at Alter. And I was locked and loaded, ready to go to Centerville. Sitting in the cafeteria, I get the tap on the shoulder. Coach Dom Seitz is behind me. He says, "I hear you're going to Centerville." And he kind of gave me a little pep talk. Well, I was in Centerville conditioning that summer. Something just didn't feel right. I remembered the talk Coach gave me that spring. Told my parents I wanted to go to Alter, and the rest is history. And my brother and sister followed in my path. So I'd like to thank you for that. More importantly, though, I'd like to thank you for going to Northmont, because it gave me the opportunity to play for Coach Rourke. As you go through life, I wouldn't have been quarterback in your style offense. Too slow. No, Coach Rourke is, they say in life, who would you take a bullet for? And that's a serious comment, but when you really think about it, he is one of them. When I look back, we kind of went through things together. My junior year, I remember driving to the Fairmont game. I didn't do too well in the 2 preseason games, but I was the starter. And I remember honestly thinking, if I got a little fender bender here, maybe that wouldn't be that bad. I don't want to get hurt, but there's going to be 8,000 people watching me, and what if I throw 4 picks? And not good. And Coach, what were you, 28 at the time? Took over a program. He had never been a varsity coach. If we went out and got blown out 50-0, he was kind of in the same boat. And I remember in that first Fairmont game, first series, we hadn't beaten them in 4 or 5 years. First play, we run it. Second play, we're gonna get them. We run a fly down the left side. I overthrow the guy by probably 30 yards. So then I'm sure you and Coach Ember said, let's ease him into it here. Quick 5-yard out, short side of the field, nice easy throw. We've done that 100 times in practice. I think I threw it up into the stands. And I'll never forget, I came over very calmly. You said, you might want to take a little bit off it. Thanks, Coach. But we went on. We were fortunate enough to go on and win that game. We actually drove, I think it was 80 yards last series, threw a touchdown in the corner. The guy made a great catch, so we beat Fairmont. We went on the next year, and we did beat Watterson. At the time, they were ranked in the top 5 in the state, and I do think it was the first time Alter's ever been ranked in the AP top. We were number 1 in the AP for about 5 years. Injury bugs set in. Next year, senior year, we knew we'd had a good team coming back, beat Fairmont 31-0. Went down to the old Galbraith Field, played Moeller, gave them all they could handle, didn't win, and made the playoffs that year back when only 4 teams got in. So, Coach, I just want to, again, thank you for everything. You don't know the impact you've had on me and my brother. We talk about you all the time, so thank you. Couple words for the team. We're almost out of here, guys. I just hope you appreciate the opportunity that you have. For you seniors, especially, you're heading down the home stretch here. I know you hear that all the time, but the feeling that you get on a Friday night, you will never again have in your life. The adrenaline rush, the nervousness, just those Friday night feelings will never come back other than your wedding day and when your kids are born. So seniors, I know you're always looking forward. You're thinking about graduation, where you're going to go to college, what's after that. Just slow it down. Enjoy these next 5-6 weeks, or hopefully 10 weeks, whatever it is. Yeah, but it goes by so fast. Try to just enjoy the time, because you'll never have that again. So I just want to thank everybody, that my family that came to support me, and congrats to all these guys up at this table. It's all well deserved. Thank you.
Okay, our next inductee couldn't be here this evening. He's working up in Minnesota, but it's Justin Wilhoit. Justin was in the class of 1998. He was a 3-year letterman. He played offensive center, and Justin played in the Tri-County All-Star game his senior year. He attended the University of Dayton, where he was a 4-year letterman in football. Justin was named, when he was at the university, he was named to the preseason mid-major All-American team. It was Justin Wilhoit. next up down here, you ready, Zach? You've been down there for a while. Next up is Zach Freshwater. Zach is from the class of 2004, where he's a 3-year starter and a 3-year letterman. He played wide receiver. He has just a full list here of accolades. He was named 2-time first team All GCL, 2-time first team All Greater Dayton, 2-time All Southwest Ohio. He was co-captain his senior year. He was awarded the Gerald A. Bart Award recipient. He was also voted Altar's most outstanding athlete his senior year. After Altar, Zach went on to play football at Ohio Dominican and the University of Dayton. Zach.
It's good to see my picture's the only one that's in color. Shows how old the rest of these guys are. Just kidding, just kidding. Bill, did you say that Coach Donsites threw on the first play of the game? I don't really believe that, but first of all, I just want to say thanks to the committee for voting me in. It's an honor to be here. When I first heard about it, I was thinking to myself, how was I inducted? My stats were not much to brag about. I mean, really, my career stats are what high school kids nowadays, besides who don't go to Altar, get that in one season. So, not really sure, but it's an honor. I kind of just want to take you through the quick career that I had as a receiver, because as you obviously know, we did not throw the ball too much. My sophomore year, I played with the likes of Bobby Getty, Doug Penno, Nick Mangold, a lot of state offensive linemen. I was one of like 5 of the platoon receivers. I'm sure you guys probably still do the same thing nowadays. So those stats that I had were 12, 15 catches, 300-400 yards, basically what kids get in one game nowadays. But nonetheless, it was a great year. My junior year, I came in as the #1 wide receiver. And a quick story against Fairmont, there's 8,000, 9,000 people there. And, I'm thinking, I'm going to have a couple catches this game. It's going to be great. So I don't know if the terminology of your plays are all still the same, but we go out there and coach has got his hand on his shoulder, chewing his gum, East, 932 deep. And I don't know if that's still a play, is it? For a receiver, that's like Christmas morning, right? I mean, you got that 10 seconds to run out there, your heart's beating. I get halfway out there, Freshwater, come back. I'm like, oh, he's gonna change the play. I get back, and he's, no, we're going to give this to Penno. It's 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10. I'm like, come on, this is a passing situation. Give me the ball. Of course, it's a 32 option. Give it to Doug. He gets like 15 yards, and we go down and score. But Coach redeemed himself. Junior year, I remember like it was yesterday. We played McNick at Nippert Stadium. That day was a Friday. It was my birthday. I just turned 17. That same day, we all found out we were playing at Nippert because it would rain way too much at the McNick field. And we heard about it. It was clear as day. That same day, we also found out our basketball team was playing LeBron. So it was just all this coming together, all this excitement. So we get there. We're not running the ball at all. Not running at all. Can't do anything. And this is a lesson for all those receivers out there. You're going to be relied on at some point in the season. You can see it on the pamphlet, but that game, 4 catches, 250 yards, 3 touchdowns. It was a game that I'll never forget. But Coach really redeemed himself after that one play at Fairmont. And lastly, my senior year was full of, I played both ways. It was full of a lot of memories. But honestly, I know I always joked with Coach throughout my career about throwing more, and we always had a few assistant coaches that were all about throwing more. And I take pride in the fact that our class against Fairmont, the second possession, we were the first class to come out shotgun, 5 wide receivers, and would throw the ball, more than 50 or 50% of the time in every game. A few of them we had 300, 400 yards throwing. So I take a lot of pride in being the one that kind of cracked that barrier for the rest with Malik and Austin and the rest of the great quarterbacks that followed in that spread offense. So with that said, thanks again. My dad's here. My uncle Jason, as you guys know, the Coach Fresh, is that what they call you? My wife of 2 weeks, we just got married a few weeks ago. She's an Alter grad too, we went to Dayton together. But thanks for being here. This is truly an honor. It's something I never expected, and when I found out, I was truly shocked. And thank you.
Okay, our next inductee couldn't be with us this evening. His mother is here. His name's Chris Borland. I'm sure we've all heard of him. Chris is a 2009 graduate. He was co-captain his senior year. He was two-time Excalibur recipient. Played on Alter's first team that was undefeated at a 15-0 season. He was a 2008 co-MVP. He was two-time All-GCL, All-Area, All-Ohio. After Alter, Chris attended the University of Wisconsin, where he had a stellar career. At Wisconsin, he was team captain. He was also named All-American. In 2013, he was named as the Student Athlete of the Year at Wisconsin. After Wisconsin, Chris was drafted by San Francisco 49ers, where he played linebacker. His rookie year, he was also named as a Pro Bowl alternate. Chris Borland. Mrs. Borland?
Chris didn't get his height from me, that's for sure. I just wanted to thank the Knights of Gold for this really nice presentation to Chris. And he really learned a lot of things through Coach Don Seitz and the other coaches and his friends at Alter. And he carried that with him to Wisconsin and then on to play a year with the 49ers. And I just want to tell the guys, enjoy your friendships, listen to your coaches, and study in the classroom. Thank you very much. By the way, he was born, he weighed 11 pounds, so I got him off to a good start.
Okay, we're going to wrap it up here. Our last recipient this evening is also from the class of 2009, Austin Boucher. Austin was a 3-year letterman. He was also co-captain, I think probably with Chris, right? And he led Alter to its first football state championship. He's two-time All-GCL, two-time team MVP. He was a GCL Player of the Year. He was a two-time first-team All-State, Ohio Division IV Player of the Year, Dayton Athlete of the Year. He also was a Big 33 All-Star football game invitee. When he played, he was named the Big 33 MVP. After Alter, Austin attended Miami University. According to Mr. McVeigh, it's probably not as good as it used to be. But he did. In Miami, Austin came in about mid-season when the starting quarterback got injured, and he was able to lead the Miami Redhawks to a MAC championship. After that, they were invited to the GoDaddy.com Bowl, where he led the team to a victory at Miami University. Austin Boucher. That wraps up our inductees this evening. Right before I turn it over to Ed for final comments, I'd like to thank everybody who participated today. Really appreciate all the inductees traveling in for this, and we were very, very much looking forward to seeing you at the game tomorrow. Ed Lashansky will be at the south end zone at halftime. So if the inductees that are going to attend the game can come down, about 5 minutes left to go in the game, or in the half, Ed will be down there. We'll wrap you all up and we'll take you out to midfield and we'll introduce you at the football game tomorrow. I'd like to thank the AFA and the football mothers for helping set up the room and set the room up and turn out a really nice event this evening. Now I'll turn it over to head coach Ed Domsites.
Go ahead, and I also thank all the people that Greg mentioned, and I want to thank Greg Merrill He puts a great deal of confidence in this. And I appreciate it, and it makes it special. I want to thank Chris and Cammie Rourke for being here. Chris is over at Fairborn now in the process of turning around their program. I know they'll get that straightened out over there. He says he's got good kids. They're still working hard. They're struggling a little bit, but I think it's when you hear comments as we heard tonight about Chris, I think that gives you a pretty good idea of what kind of football coach he is. So I do appreciate them being here. One of the big reasons I wanted to start this, and I want the team here, and they've heard me say this, and those of you who have been here before have heard me say this. It's not enough just to talk about the altar tradition if you can't put a face on it, if you can't hear some of the stories. It is a somewhat long night. We're getting them out of here around 7:30, so we feel pretty good about this. But to me, they are the latest addition to that altar story that each and every one of these men have talked about. And it is special. Sometimes you don't realize how special until you're gone, until you're out of here. But in any case, it is a thing where I believe it's extremely important that they get a feel for what these folks contributed to this program, the kind of foundation they laid. And I'm happy our team was able to be here. I appreciate these fellows up here, the inductees. I congratulate them every year. It's a great group, and this is a special group. We always finish this up with the alma mater. So you fellas stand up here. Now, I'd like just a little melody on this, okay? Some of these guys, they might remember some of the words. They may not recognize the melody if you don't work at it. Who's our man that gets them started? All right.
A one, two, three, four.
Facing life without.
Come on, little melody.
Like the nights of old. We promise always great ideals to hold. With our eyes on heaven, sword of faith in hand, the future face, and with grace take our stand. Hear our pledge of fealty to you, as we ask your strength to see us through. High in hope and spirit, we will do or die for our King and altar high.
Not bad. Not good. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. I'll turn this back over to Frank. Another successful Gridiron Greats induction, and thank you and your families and friends for being here.
Yes, just one last thing. If all the inductees could come over, we'd like to get a class picture over here. So any of your guests that'd like to take some pictures and stuff will be here. With that, we'll adjourn till the game tomorrow. Go Knights!